The Great Man of Ben Macdhui. For some years before, there's this time that just still the Second World War still happened this time. There's a big strange stories happen in Scotland. This land, near the Scottish people, which is living near the forest called Ben Macdhui. This is a very, very strange stories, which is showing some thrilled and afraid of all the people living there near the Scotland, and which is all of these world becomes famous, which is showing a bad stories of what they are talking about is all of the things that they usually used to talking in with the Scotland in west is the Ben Macdhui in these stories usually happened in this river. Ben Macdhui is the small town in the southwest Scotland, and does show that this land is not very famous after this story. Before this story is just a strange and a very, very small town, which is nothing to do. It's especially don't have the local newspaper, which is people living there just for hunting, and they usually do not have any house there and just some contents, and they usually live outside of this Ben Macdhui. Now the truth is, this is a mountain. You imagine there's a mountain called Ben Macdhui? Yes, that mountain is really tall, for about 4,000 feet. It's about 1,200 meters of it can be high. But these type of high things of these stories is not especially special like the strange stories happens there. The Great Man of the mountain. Why that they call the Great Man, and what stories happen with this name, with these disgusting and afraid stories of Ben Macdhui. These mountains have a lot of things which is showing of the death. It's not really of the death. It's just care about some very, very scary disappeared, which show that there's a big way that they call a big things that they call Great Man, which is put their heavier body in these big mountainous Ben Macdhui. This story happened very, it makes a lot of people thrilled, but some people want to find out about this. Of course, the first time no one believes in this, but although these stories happen be large and it is told by the very famous, a famous mountainous hiker, a very famous mountainous hiker, which is showing that there is a monster there, which is this monster can be a very alien. Of course, these strange stories happen with their time be ahead, which show that every people living there, which show of the afraid of them. Some of the people never hunt there anymore. They live there, which they have their contents in house and tent, which it means that, of course, there must be happen some things outside of this Ben Macdhui. In this mountainous region, This region can be about some hundred ways to talk, but always no exactly result for it. You know, be told by a very famous mountain hiker near these ways. You can know that maybe really is of course the truth. In that day, Zira William, maybe you can call William Zira, which is a very experiment mountain hiker. Of course, that stories be taken in Ben Macdhui when this man, experienced hiker, which is very famous and all over popular, have a lot of dangerous hiking on the mountains and adventures, several things, which show that a lot of creature can show the geologist of him. He know that, is not by someone imagine that must be something. On that day, Zira go on the Ben Macdhui and started to hike. The way that he hike is not very long. The mountain is just for 4,000 feet, so it's just take him 4 days to go to 4 days to sit and take the flag in the biggest of the mountains, Ben Macdhui. But it's not all. Before he take the flag and take a picture of this, there is a big strange stories happened. These stories is not by telling of the imagine of Zira, but of course that's the truth. On that, when he's walking walking on the top of this Ben Macdhui mountain and taking the flag, he can hear a voice. At first, he thinks that it's just the voice from some wind and from his leg, because he's walking and he's jogging on this top, and he's starting to lay down and tell the story. Yes, at first the voice is too small. It's small, but from louder, and louder. And in one moment, he realized that he's not care about his body, and it's not the voice of the wind. He's jogging. That's different, the voice. That's the different voice. And the wind, when it's near, is different voice. So this time, you can show that one thing's happened, which is especially in the big head of this monster. The way that they did is especially the speciality character of this big monster, which show off the best thing, which is this Ben Macdhui is can destroy it by the ultimate, which roll up airborne and push down. From this time, Zira is really afraid of this. At first, he is washing away and look up. But all of the mist and the coffee fall down in this. He can see nothing. But the truth is, the loudly voice too loud in this show that there's someone follow him. Someone, but a creature, not any humanity more. With the big afraid, he used all of the equipment and ran down with all of outside the top of this mountain, which is from the disappeared of the flag. Suddenly, there's a big change happen. A big things will show up in his eyes. A very, very big monster. It can look like a human at first, with really long, like very big body, with very long and strong hands, with shorting head. At first, he imagined as the huge person, but no, it's not really. It's like no. It's like a monkey, but a huge one, which can show that it's nearly changed to the people, with no tail, big hand, big foot, big leg, big head, and a lot of hair. And the hair is brown, can look like a people, person, which is showing their humanity in this. And why? Of course, it's not making him die, but making him thrilled. These animals or this creature is not dangerous. These creature do not do nothing to him. He's just make the voice and just only want to let him away. The voice is at first it looks like someone is chasing him, but it's not really. They just want to go near him and make some voice with angry face to make him go away. Maybe it wants to protect something, really want to protect, and it doesn't want any creature, another creature, not them go to this place in the middle at the top of Ben Macdhui, which is can be shown up in a very big cave or in some predators of these things. Look, now is like a slave of something, a slave of a big cave. Now, can you imagine this? No, just Zira can imagine this, and from that, he's thrilled and become a hero in League of Legends. But why this happened? Now just kidding for this. His name is not Zira. His really name is William Thompson, okay? Please don't talk about Zira anymore. That's the bad support in this. Very bad. It's not really good support, but her ultimate is also really good. But not like the ultimate of Joshua and ultimate of Darius. Some ultimate is really strong, but some ultimate cause no damage, like ultimate surprise. So these times, from these things happen when Professor Thompson told that, and his skin is really gray. So from that stories and some story before and after happened, after this story and some more, a lot of stories happened. These things that they call the monster, which is of the nickname of the Big Grey Man. The Big Grey Man because it looks like a human. It's very huge. So it's the Big Grey Man, which is gray, have a gray skin. But that's not everything. Some more strange story happened after that. That's the stories of students called what? Garen. He is, of course, his nickname is Garen because he looks like Garen. He is Malcolm Graves. Okay. This is a hero in League of Legends. That's just for kidding. He's really Malcolm Simpson. Yes, William Thompson and Malcolm Simpson, not Malcolm Graves, please. This story caused a lot of things to the tourist. The tourist. But that time happened. He is a student that's just see of the leg of these big animals. He pushed in there and he disappeared, and no one know about his story anymore. But there's one more thing happened. Disappear. It's not by the animals eating him. It's just be pushing away because the mountain. He fall down in this mountain, which is within the straight veil. He died rightly, not of the mountain eater, not of the monster eater. So the last story happens caused a big win to the tourists, which show that no one want to go to Ben Macdhui anymore. This can cause is very afraid. And Vermiza Valley. These stories happen when a pilot, which is showing these things are from stories. Actually, he's rescue workers of the plane which is falls down. He want to save. It's not one. He's Malcolm. He have to save the pilots from some falling plane. And started from this. His job now is being at the Ben Macdhui mountains. At first, a lot of mist and a lot of gloomy falls down near him, and he wait for the good more weather to see a lot of things and can save the pilots by talking with them some ways to use to shoot and control them used on the sky. And this time, these stories happen cause a lot of things to this, which is showing that there's a really monster, the big grey man in this Ben Macdhui. Big grey man. These stories happens from these days when the roomies around him, and suddenly he hear a voice which is showing, and jump down with like a lot of some noise like boom boom boom. This noise can cause a lot of afraid things to him. At first he's just know the legend of the big grey man, but now he's really afraid. He jump and run every time with all of his power from these big things, and he just can hear a lot of voice which is with the face of human, like the human, but out of a lot of things. No tail, and his leg, and he's very big with the big head and some hair. Looks like the people, the humanity. And this time he run with all of these power, and he take a picture. These pictures is not a real, it's a real pictures that the US Air Force, the evidence that this is not a fake one, is it revealed. The pictures from him, because he's a rescue worker, he want to take a picture of he take a pictures of the plane, but already it falls into the body of the monster, because it's too slight, it's not lightly. So the ways that you see is just some big body with some mustaches in the stomach, and this caused a lot of rage. After that, he never worked in Ben Macdhui before, and from these all episode stories happen of the pilots, which is the pictures that show that there's a really monster in this. But from this time to now, it's not really, no one knows. But from these stories for some years later, when the Second World War finishing these still be this creature will disappear suddenly. No one knows, but some people telling each other that maybe it's alien, or maybe, the war bring them here. Maybe, someone told that it can, because of the story of William Thompson. So they maybe it can protect something very, very maybe like big things on the Ben Macdhui mountains. Maybe it protect the gateways to go to another place, another side of the world, or a lot of things like that. Oh, there's one big, things that people a little believe in this, that the World War bring it. Maybe the Germany, Hitler's way, Adolf Hitler's waves, Adolf Hitler's slave bring it here to cause and to protect something on the mountains of the ways, the big treasures of Adolf Hitler's, maybe protect some things very, very afraid and very respect and secret of Adolf Hitler.